I'm Elisa Mortensen, and this is Undo Redo.
All right, everyone, take two. Hello to all my friends. I cannot wait to share today's topic, so I'm going to jump right in. At first, when I was having issues with conflict, I heard there was an option to not shut down. And it blew my brain. How do you not lose it when everything is a complete disaster? Like, I had no idea. What does that even look like, you guys? What it sounded to me was like, well, if I did nothing, then the people they're going to get away with it. Everybody who I'm mad at is going to get away with what they did. Or if I didn't make someone pay or tear into somebody and yell at them, they somehow wouldn't get punished. And the problem would just keep repeating itself. And no one wants problems to stick around any longer than they already do. So I don't know what it was about my brain could not accept this. And it was a real problem. Also, who wants to remain calm when it feels like chaos? I didn't know how not to spin in my head or cry for hours or call and complain to my friends. Guess what they did now? How do you not be at the mercy of it all? Right? And long after the fits and the panic and the emotional meltdowns, I would eventually pop out of it. I'd hope for the best. I was really good at telling myself, like, I'll be okay. I knew I would move forward. But in doing that, I was just settling in my life. I was taking whatever came my way, and I was settling for whatever was handed to me. This really was my life. I didn't know how I could choose differently. I didn't know how to start thinking about things differently in my mind. How can you think about an argument differently and make everything somehow change magically? Well, it turns out it can happen. And it took me a long time to wrap my head around it. And it took me a lot of observing myself and a lot of tears. And I knew better and I still did it. And a lot of program and rewiring in my brain. And now I love sharing it. And it's my very favorite topic. So this is coming in this week. I want you to ask yourself, who's really in charge here? Take a big, deep breath. Who's in charge here? Let's evolve. There isn't a single person that I talk to that wouldn't love to get out the struggles that they're in right now. I'm in the process of putting together a quick quiz, which is going to be really amazing. It'll tell you what relationship reset style you have, and it gives you back advice as to where you go from there. And depending on what your answers are, you're sent a fix for your own relational reset style. So when you need just a reset, I'll tell you exactly how, because you fit in one of a few categories. And I'm excited for this quiz, and I'll get it out. I'll get it out there. You'll see it coming. I can't wait to share. In the meantime, let's open our minds to the idea of evolving instead of sliding into the tantrums that we have. Now, we can't control other people's tantrums, right? We can't control their responses or how much they rage. And that's too bad, because that would be a really lucrative business if we could figure out how to control each other. But opening new ways of seeing things expands our own horizons, and it gets us out of looping in the cycles that we are stuck in when conflict arises. We all have a go-to. Some of us, used to be known as like fight, flight, and freeze and all that stuff. But over the years of being a coach, I have researched conflict consistently. I have experienced it over and over personally. I still do. I've listened to experts. I've helped countless others overcome this. And here it is. Think of the moment that you are in conflict. Are you at work? Is it at business? Is it in the home with your kids? Is it with your spouse? Maybe somebody didn't show up the way you wanted them to. You missed a deadline. Somebody's telling you no and pushing back and being disrespectful. In that instant, when we make it mean something about us, we get angry. Whenever there's chaos, it's going to invite you to be chaotic. Whenever there's anger, it's going to invite you to be angry. All right? It's just an invitation. Now, in that tantrum, we're thinking some thoughts that either escalate or de-escalate. There's thoughts like, they're doing this to get at me. They don't respect me. They're obviously lazy and they don't care. This story is the first invitation to conflict. And once we believe that first story, now we've joined the tantrum. And we're trying to find out how right we are and how wrong they are. And long after the issue is gone, a week later, we're still trying to continue to prove that we're right and that they were wrong about this. And that's the loop we get stuck in. Whenever we see them going there, we go there too. That's the invitation. I want you to see the invitation as it's coming. We gather evidence. We replay the past mistake. Any mistake that's similar to it, we group it all together in a case against them. And the problem is now entirely them, and we feel justified in it. However, this is where we lose our power. Saying things like, if they would just listen, this wouldn't be a problem. Or if they would just do it the way I said, we would have no issues. And to some degree, moving forward with that person looks like the worst case scenario forever. Just being stuck with never-ending conflict and no resolution and no change. So if conflict isn't the villain here, it's the invitation, and chaos invites you to join it, and that's all. It's really every time somebody's mad at you, or every time something happens, every time there's a disaster, it's like, hello again, it's me, your friend Rage. Would you like to spiral with me again into a fit and then land in self-pity for a long time like we always do? Yes or no? That's what the invitation sounds like. It's not like, hey, you want to go on a trip to Hawaii? It's like, hey, come throw a fit with me and spiral out of control and let it waste all of your energy and time outside of this disaster so you can keep it with you even when there's no reason to have disaster and ruin all your days ahead. And if you're anything like me, I think I've said heck yes and RSVP'd to those kind of invitations many more times than I can even count. So it doesn't happen without our permission. And if you can't see right now how to separate yourself from instantly having rage, sorry, I'm having camera problems. Okay. Rage doesn't happen without your permission. If you can't see how to separate yourself from instantly having rage and where the invitation comes in to, I offer to you to begin to observe yourself and get some help. I'm a coach. This is my expertise. I can show you exactly where the moment is that you need the pause in order to decline this invitation. But I want to show you some thoughts that are real. My clients have come up with these and they work real time. If you can think and become these thoughts, they've carried a burnout mom to new places. And then years later, her excitement and energy from these new thoughts was so big, it invited her whole family to have very similar thoughts. And the whole family was up-leveled. There was a defeated teacher who chose to get a better classroom culture when the parents didn't change, the students didn't change, but she was able to tap into a thought that carried her so big that it changed the way she saw her job. It turned into making a huge impact in every classroom she was in, and it was strong enough to carry everyone in the classrooms within her influence to higher levels. These are real thoughts. There's one whose team had been pressured so heavily by the owner, and there was so much lack in appreciation, and there was never any team boosting or morale, and no one was performing at their best. The business was on a serious downslide. But this new lens with this new thought that was put in place, thoughts that could see things through, thoughts that could support everyone, thoughts that could unite with more lighthearted fun and get everyone involved. Everyone did a 180 turnaround to an exciting, more creative collaboration, and they put into motion this unstoppable momentum forward. All right, so you get the idea. It works in a lot of areas. Are you kind of seeing the picture? Are you ready to hear some of these thoughts? Because I've gathered them and grouped them together. So here we go. And you can borrow any of these. The first thought I have for you is, what if it could go better than I ever imagined? What if my failures could build me bigger than I ever imagined? What if my mistakes could teach me better than I ever imagined? My kids, my class, my team could perform better than I ever imagined. That was from someone who thought the worst case scenario every single time they thought of something. Here's another one. Consistency will get me there. I just keep doing little bits. These little bits add up and they get me closer. And this one, when I give up on my goals, I'm giving up on my people. So I will keep finding solutions. That's pretty powerful. This one, this is just who I am now. I have changed because of round after round, week after week, day after day, hour after hour. I've declined those invitations to stay stuck where I was. I like that one. Here's one. I'm going to change the way this has been going from now on. So anything you don't like that comes at you, just say, I'm going to change the way this is going from now on. It's going to go this other way. And just have some commitment and resolve, right? How about this one? I had a great unlearning, and it was difficult and hard, and it will not go to waste. I am now up for more fun, and I will enjoy everything more, and so will everyone around me. This one's cute. Noise is noise. I can turn it up or down. That part's up to me. This one, I am in calm control because I am meant to rise to that anyways. I may as well start there. This one says, I am not controlled by my emotions or reactions any longer. Where I am right now is the perfect place for me to be. Every time I remember to do it, to decline the offer to be angry, I become the person that I really am. Here's one that someone says in the mirror, you are one of the best. It's just right for you right now. And for you to be solving with them together is perfect. This next one says, I always figure things out, so I must be getting really good at it because things always seem to work. This one says, I will have no regrets and I will show up the best I can. This one says, I show up for my people and they show up for me. I will quit seeing what's wrong and find what's right. This one says, I have been going the rounds with my people for a long time, and I am the best at knowing just what to do, and I know how to do better. This one says, it can be crap, but I can make it fun. This one says, I have the energy and drive to ignore anything that threatens my peace. Again, you can borrow any of these thoughts. Do you hear how different they sound? They sound different than the dramatic contexts we give when we start to be defensive or offended, right? They're not fluffy. They're very strong. They give you a ground to stand on when everything in your life feels shaky or like it's being shaken around. And the more you practice them, the more natural they become. We are what we do most. So if what we do most is decline the offer to become a crazy person, then we become a calm person. Right? So if conflict comes knocking at your door, again, which you can kind of feel it coming and you know it will because we know our people really well by now, pause and ask yourself, am I going to accept this invitation to be angry? Or am I going to accept the invitation to evolve in my reasoning, to calm myself and remain in my composure, in who I really am? Because conflict doesn't destroy you. It provides you with the opportunity to reinforce who you are, instead of losing who you are. Let's not lose ourselves. And I promise you have the energy and the drive to ignore any invitation that's handed to you. Just don't take them up on it. Just be like, I'm not going to decide right now. I don't want to feel angry, so I'm just not going to decide. And it doesn't mean you're not going to do anything about it. You can revisit it later. Nothing can own you without your permission. Nothing takes your power away unless you give it up. This is how it evolves you. You remain in your power. Well, that's it for this week. So I really hope you stay hanging in there till I get back on and do another podcast. It's been hit or miss lately, and I'm so excited to be working on behind the scenes what I am working on, and I will reach out to you again soon. Remember to share this with anyone that you thought of while I was talking, and to invite others to your higher energy and to doing something different. Go be the energy that invites people to do better. All right. Okay, till next time, my friends. Bye.